Hey there, this is Cooper from Telepathic Bunny Comics, and we've got one more coming. Should be here shortly. He said he thought he'd be done by work by now, but he's a little delayed. He'll probably be in before too long. But until then, he's the writer and creator, but the artist of this incredible work of art, which is yeah. Anyway, being redundant there. But the artist in question is Mr. Xeviuss here.
It's just Xeviuss, not Mr. Xeviuss.
Just Xeviuss. Just Xeviuss.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, kind of like Cher, kind of like Lady Gaga.
Yeah, like oh, dude, in my dreams, like it's like Prince.
Prince.
That's
cooler. Yeah.
that's my number one. That's my thing.
Oh, really? Yeah. Prince was definitely a one-off. There'd be nobody else like him. So I've been looking at the kind of like I do a little research when I have a subject, and I thought I kind of like knew what was going on with the this project, but when I started looking at the art that he has posted, there's like some new images I hadn't seen, and some of the stuff is just like it could go on a wall of a museum, you know. I mean,
it's a compliment. Yeah, I don't. We didn't really talk about the format for the show or what we're going to go through, but show some stuff. I can spend a little time here and bring some things up in a bit.
Oh, sure. But, yeah. We'll definitely do that. We'll definitely do that.
I only started working with Buddy about a year and a half ago. And he, and we had a really good meeting yesterday morning. That was just like, it's like, I'm going to keep giving you the feel, the vibe, the, not the panels, but the narrative flow of where the pages are going to go. And it's best if I just let you do your own thing. And so I just kind of, I'm still, I've only been doing this for 20 plus years ish.
Yeah.
But as a painter, like more fine art stuff. So how that relates to doing sequentials in a graphic novel or a comic book is, I guess we're still feeling it out. But
yeah, it's kind of apples and oranges in a way. Yeah.
Sure.
It's kind of like I thought writing a novel would be more crossover to comics than it is. But I found out the screenwriting's a lot more closer to the kind of writing I need for comic books. So I've had to kind of like retrain myself in a way. So I guess static images like paintings is kind of not as akin to comic book art as you would think. But it's interesting. I mean, you think there'd be more parallel, more crossover, but it really isn't. Let me go ahead and say hello to some people in the chat. We've already got a group over here. Nice. Mr. Aaron Jordan, who is first today. Sorry, Vince. I know you like to be the first one. Vince, a.k.a. Kokushuko Papajango. And I might be the only person that can say that. Anyway, Aaron's like, oh, Xeviuss is here too. Nice. Yep.
Nice. Good morning or good afternoon, I guess.
Yep. Hojo, what? Sweet. Yeah. Hojo, a consistent guy with the show. Andrew Wyatt, good afternoon, chat. And Crüe, good afternoon, Aaron. Andrew, sorry. I got my A's mixed up here. Let me see. Genuine Comics. Hello, Cooper and Xeviuss. Hell, chat. All right.
Hey, dude, we've never spoken, but we should one of these days for sure. I know who that is.
Yeah, Dave Brink, Perfect 10 fame. Yeah.
Oh, no, that's see, like, I mean, I don't want to interrupt your flow here, but
go ahead.
I've kept, like, I'm Xeviuss on every platform. I'm Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Xeviuss.com, whatever. And people who sort of jump around a bit with Dave Brink, Perfect 10, that guy.
Yeah.
Yes, I know who you are, but it always takes a second to go. You got to connect the dots.
Like people that have like that don't do the sobriquet across all platforms. Yeah, sometimes it takes.
Like my background's advertising agency, like creative director.
Right.
I'm sort of like, as Buddy would even say, kind of Machiavellian. Like it's okay. I've got evil scheming plans to just be, in your face. You can't miss it.
Well, if you're in corporate life, you have to be Machiavellian if you want to survive more than a week.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
And this is definitely live, Aaron. We're definitely live. Speak of the devil, and he shall appear. Hello, buddy. What's up, man?
Hey, what's up? I'm still finishing something at work, so if I'm muting here and there, you just have to.
Oh, no problem. No problem.
Make Xeviuss carry the show,
Yeah, we can do that.
Well, so I'll be in and out, all right, for about 10 minutes.
Okay, that's fine.
Right.
Yeah, well, everybody knows I'm kind of shy, so
Yeah. Well, a little reclusive. I'll call it reclusive. That's
I'm a recluse.
Dave Brink says I only use my own name and my own Facebook profile. Okay, I got you. Hojo says Xeviuss, the Gallant Universe book we were chatting about last week or so, arrived yesterday. My son said, "Daddy, I like the colors." He freaked out. Oh,
that's awesome. Oh yeah, so Wayne, I know exactly what you're talking about. That's so cool. Like I said, I had that book like 40 years ago, and it is stunning in every way. The writing, the writing, the art, and the infographics, most of all, which still they hold up to this day. And it was just a tweet. I forget who tweeted it first, but it's something. Yeah. So yeah, good for you, man. I'm glad your kid likes it.
Right. Yeah. I thought that was pretty impressive too. How long ago was that published?
Thinking like the late 70s, probably 70. I'll make up a number and say 78. That's probably pretty close.
Okay. So they were still assembling everything by hand back then. So yeah.
Oh, but that was the height of the best of airbrush art. So you wouldn't, you wouldn't know. And Wayne, if you want to chip in and say just what year it was roughly, I'm going to put a $5 on it being 1978.
Oh, okay. Cool.
And that, along with, I had the hardcover, big hardcover companion novel to the Cosmos. I think it was PBS, but the Carl Sagan, obviously the TV series, which was the same thing, like a big mind-bending, 12 chapters of amazing concepts and time, space, religion, genetics, and my roommate stole it about 20 years ago, but I will replace both of those.
Dave Bring says Xeviuss has a cool voice. He could totally voice a comic book character. I agree with that. I call him the golden voice of CG is what I call him.
What's funny? Thanks. Like, I've been directing TV commercials. I mean, national stuff for about 20, 25 years, and so I'm in the booth, and there's talent, and they're expensive. And it was only when I got on YouTube again about a year and a half ago. I think I did my first show. Might have been with Buddy actually here. And people started saying like, "Dude, you should be doing voiceover." And it never. Isn't that weird? But
never occurred to you, really?
Really? Yeah.
Oh man.
And now
you got one of those resonant voices, man. Like Alexander Scorby is who you remind me of.
Oh, thank you. I get it all the time. Like I remember, I was at Comic-Con San Diego about 4-ish years ago, and Palpatine, the actor, is, sorry, I'm the biggest Star Wars fan in the world, but I'm blanking.
Yeah, I can't remember his name either, but he is Darmon or whatever.
No. Anyway, and he flagged me over because I was in this his way I was dressed. He's got like 100 people lined up, and he basically his assistants sort of stood up and kind of waved me over to the table.
Yeah,
and I went by, and there's that line in episode 2 where he says "rise" like that.
Yeah,
but I know that they slowed it down, and he had a cold that day because that's on the I think it's on the features on the Blu-ray. But actually, that was my first words out of my mouth, and he was just like, "Dude, that's awesome." I was like, "Well, thank you." Here we are. So I'm available
Ian
for
McDermott,
voiceover.
I think his name is.
Yeah.
I think that's his name. Yeah.
Ian McDermott. Yes.
Yeah.
Nice guy.
I have so much. If I'm not coming up with it, I can usually come up with a name. if I'm not like there. Matt Barr brought up the Gallant book published in 1980. Yep. Yeah. Okay.
Yep. 80. Okay. Yeah. Yeah,
Well,
I just met
mhm.
Matt about I've known Matt for just a couple months. Good
Oh,
dude. I
really? Yeah.
love he does some awesome stuff. He's
Yeah,
doing
he
something.
he 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 has a big old bag of don't give a fuck. He really does.
Mm,
He's just like completely unselfconscious, and he just he's pretty interesting guy. But anyway, so we're going to talk about sins of the Fae. We're here to talk about this because this book is the uh, one of the things that we've been discussing on the show is perfection. Production. Uh, like us. Are those two like fighting against one another? Is there like a
mm-hmm.
happy medium there? And when I was talking to on my rant show yesterday, buddy was kind enough to come on, but
Yeah.
we started talking about the production of Sins of the Fae, and he started talking about like, we've improved it. We've even improved it from what you've seen so far.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how in the world do you level up from what I've seen so far? And so that's I thought that would be an interesting topic. Hold on, he burrows a mean ninja. Yep.
Rock
Well,
and
he
roll
should.
ninja.
Rock and roll ninjas is his property, so he should draw pretty mean ninjas.
Yeah, you better be good at that.
Yeah, he better be good at it. But Buddy was talking about the fact that he was feeling a little self-conscious about being late on the book, and so he kind of like disappeared from the community for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
But now he's trying to get back his presence
Good.
in the community and start
Mm-hmm.
pushing this book again, because you guys are about to drop a ash can on people to kind of like, I guess, relaunch the book. Would you say?
Yeah, in about 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I've been up. My wife works at San Diego Comic-Con. That's how I ended up living there. Hell, that's how I ended up getting married to her in the first place. I've been part of that scene for about 7 years, and it's what brought me back out of advertising into comic books.
Okay.
So so I know that, and it's a great vibe. And I think they pull off about 250,000 people pass through over the weekend.
Right.
Now I'm currently in Calgary, and the con here is the biggest one in Canada. It's roughly half that, so it's big as F. And I kind of forgot about it because it was locked down for the last 2 years. But that's in exactly. I've actually got a timer on my desk here. That starts in 27 days, 14 hours, and 43 minutes. So I will be there handing out preview versions of Sins of the Fae, and I would think with a tease of Sway, which is the accompanying graphic novel to that. Yeah. So it's kind of time, and it's just, we had our first meeting about this yesterday, I think, me and Buddy, that it's time to just go, okay, well, let's wrap up some of the stuff that's we got together. Let's put it, get it bound and printed and out there. And I mean, I was kidding. I mean, I'm not particularly shy, but to be walking the floor to do Artist Alley, because here's the scenario. Like Artist Alley, I know some of the big guys. Some of my background was back to BioWare in the 90s, and I know all the principles there. So, the cover for our next book is Sway, and the painter for that did the cover for Knights of the Old Republic, John Gallagher.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So, so last time we had a con here, I bumped into him, and we, hung out at his booth for a bit, and then we went for dinner and lots of drinks till 5 o'clock in the morning the next day. So I intend to do this. So I intend to do the same thing, early next month. But I'll have copies of Sins of the Fae, which is interesting, and I'll take all feedback, positive and negative. I mean, like, hey, dude, this is because I've sort of had this secret weapon, which is him. Mike Sass is one of the principal guys with Wizards of the Coast doing Magic cards,
right? Yeah,
and so every couple of weeks, I'll do a piece. It could be for Sins, and we kind of have a rule in my friend group like that. Is no compliments, only critique. Right. Be like, so, dude, your background is a disaster, or your colors are farked, or whatever.
Yeah.
okay, cool.
Right.
You know, like thank you, and you kind of move on. It makes you better. But for me to be going around, because so Artist Alley is a lot of guys. I'm just picturing like a veteran, and by the way, the bookings are I just refreshed it a few minutes ago. They don't have the bookings yet, so I don't know who's going to be here. But I've got some cool followers, you know, on Twitter, like guys who are mainstream, who some are visibly do that, some are on my personal account. But you know, say Alex Ross is a good example, right? Like he likes my stuff, I like his stuff. He's a DC 20+ year veteran.
I know who Alex Ross is.
Now I don't know if he's friends with Ethan Van Sciver or not. It doesn't matter to me, not a whit. It's just like cool, nice art, bro. Back at you. If he's got a table, it's going to be really fun for me to go, hey, do I know you? And I'll have I want to do hoodies with me and my girlfriend with my Xeviuss logo, like huge.
Right.
Maybe people even go like, wait, are you that guy? We're like, yeah, I'm that guy, but whatever. and they expect people to come up to their booth and ask for an autograph, maybe a photo, maybe to critique something. Well, I'm gonna ask for nothing. I'm gonna say, hey, let me give you something. And hey, it's an experiment. I was talking to a buddy that with this last night.
Aaron George called me out over here. Alex Ross starts to drool. Yes, I'm an Alex Ross fan. Bite me, Aaron. Amazing. Bite me, Aaron George.
His stuff is stunning, always. Like
it completely changed my idea of what's possible in comic book art form as an art form. I mean, because he pushed it into like fine art area. Never occurred to me before you could push it that far, because I was just used to the caricatures and not really that kind of realism, but once you see the realism, you can't unsee it, you know. Like what would that actually look like, seeing Captain America jump over a car, you know?
It's incredible. I don't know how he does it, but it's nice that we've got a good open line between us. And
cool.
I have no idea what he thinks of Joe Biden or what he thinks about. I mean, literally.
But Aaron Jordan says I was talking about me. Yeah, it's good. Okay, all right, I get it. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Politics. I mean, it's just so ephemeral. It's just so pointless. I mean, especially in artistic forms. If politics gets into your art, then it's no longer politics. I mean, no longer art.
Pretty much, yeah.
I mean, you at that point it becomes propaganda. I mean, it has to just by the very definition of what art is, it becomes propaganda at that point. It no longer is art. I mean, even if you do a protest piece, as long as it's ephemeral enough to be universal, then it still maintains art. But
yeah, I mean, like there's exceptions. Like I will sometimes. There's someone who's part of our extended community who, again, he's more part of my like British political whatever. He's a Zuby friend, and I work with Zuby.
Okay. Yeah.
And he had a tweet a couple months ago saying, "I wish I could help myself from tweeting about stuff that bugs me, but I can't." That was the idea. And this guy's name is Clifton Duncan. He was on Friday Night Tights a couple months ago.
Oh, okay.
And I really enjoyed the tweet, and I got involved in that thread because it's like, sometimes I have to draw something that bugs me. Right. And so, it's political and it's art. So I didn't, they don't negate each other. But
no.
I think the biggest thing about surviving or succeeding on social media is to be yourself.
Right.
So it's like, okay, got to get it off the top of my head. And it could be about cat food. It could be about COVID. It's who knows? But
yeah, you've done some, the middle of the morning things that you've done sometimes have been very clever. Hojo says Marvel's changed my thoughts on how comic book visuals can make everything else shrink next to it. Yep. Totally agree. Well, when you talk about Sins of the Fae, you're talking about that fine art, kind of that fine art visual, but you're putting it in a sequential storytelling form, and you're pairing it with a story and dialogue and trying to like marry the two. But you guys, what you guys doing, it's very interesting to me. Is is you're pushing it past just mere visual into visceral.
Okay.
But I would say he told me you had synesthesia, and that makes a lot of sense to me now.
Me?
Because some of the,
Yeah, dude, it's rough.
Yeah,
Yep.
and some of the way you handle colors makes a lot more sense to me now. That now I know you have synesthesia. I didn't know for
Well,
those who
no.
don't
I said
know,
he was like. I said it was like that. What he
like
does is
synesthesia.
he sees things. He sees things like mathematically, and he sees colors and everything in different ways than like we do. So like he'll
Yeah.
look at a person and see them as like numbers. Like, oh, this is like this this piece of something is half a centimeter off here or this there, and he sees it in math and congruency and incongruency, and he sees like those patterns, and then he can put them together.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
I do. Like around the age of I don't know, like 12, 13, like a young teen. I wanted, like, I got really interested in music, but we didn't have musical instruments in my house, and we couldn't. So I would draw musical keyboards, like a piano, like say 2 octaves on a piece of paper, and then I'd learn the math for the wavelengths. So the idea of like a C to an F being a fourth, or C to G being a 5, and then I would divide the numbers in my head, which is really weird, I know, but sue me. and it took me a few years before I got around to getting a paper route and buying a guitar. And I was always interested in art, but I didn't start painting till I was probably 20. So I had a bunch of years where music was math totally, and then art, it just kind of translated into that. So like where you look at complementary generation, purple being the opposite of yellow, like precisely, not subjectively. I mean, they actually are opposites in terms of the spectrum, or red and green. So I'm always thinking about that stuff whenever I do anything. I mean, I painted for about 4 hours this morning.
Right.
And I didn't consciously think about the math, but I thought about the relationships behind it for sure. And
well, that's what a lot of people don't know about what color actually is color is actually a reflection, and different colors like vibrate at different frequencies.
Yep.
And what you're actually
we know
seeing
that.
Yeah. Right.
We studied that when we were doing some of the book, because some of the book has different colored suns, and we wanted to know what colors would be possible in those areas. So we actually studied chromatic aberration.
We got a color nerd here, Jaco C4. Yeah. So he knows the hertz. Yeah.
No, I got you, bro.
Right.
You're absolutely right.
Right.
To me somehow, like the idea of like an octave, right? Like a C to a C, like C2 to C3, the hertz they resonate at, but you stop at the middle at a 5, like at a fifth, so at a G. That to me is kind of like red and green. And I mean, I've been doing this, I mean, we're talking 30 years on. I'm 49, so it's not a conscious weird thing. I'm like, okay, and I know it's really kind of what we're trying to do here. Like I'm looking at.
Are you familiar with Devin Townsend music?
Nope.
Okay, no, Devin Townsend. He has synesthesia, but he sees music in color in terms of light, or in color. And if you hear his music, it sounds like a wall of sound coming at you. But to him, he actually he does his music. When he creates his music, he does it kind of like in a visual medium. To him, it's a visual medium, but to you, it comes out as sound. But there really is a lot of parallels there.
Like, okay, for example, if you play, like, just like walk up to a piano or a guitar, and you play a C and an E, you're gonna get a dissonance, right? It's not gonna be nice. The C to the G is gonna be really very nice. And then now in color, like right behind you, so the backdrop, that's your character. I painted that that I colored it, so that's an adjacent color, and that's a weird ass green with kind of a weird blue, which is it's an exactly adjacent color. So I was probably conscious of that, but I just did it kind of what felt right, and then it bounces as a complementary off the skin tone. So not to sound fancy, because anybody could do this who doesn't know anything, just by instinct. But I come out in a bit of both.
Right. Yeah, Jaco over here, he's a music writing nerd from Venezuela. He's talking about Debbie Townsend can tell the individual strains of melody apart because he sees them. Yeah, yeah, that's well, I mean, I mean, they talk about art and science, and they kind of like divorce the two, but they really are almost like, I guess, two sides of the same coin. The one is like, I guess, about defining the universe, and art in a lot of ways is about exploring the universe. But if you marry the two, then and kind of like, I don't know that you could ever quantify art, but there really is a lot more adjacency there than a lot of people realize. And you guys are really pushing the boundaries of that and what you're doing with Sins of the Fae. Because when I first saw the art of it, I was like, hold on, there's something else going on here. There's a lot more. What would be the word I'm thinking about here? There's a lot more like going on under the surface. There's a lot more intentionality to what you guys are doing with the art than just storytelling. I mean, you guys are trying to create an experience, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like Buddy's got this massive overarching. I mean that in the real sense story, and I get these notes on how to. I mean, I'm almost finished doing 2 more pages that I haven't showed anybody, least of all Buddy, and I should be done tomorrow, next day, whatever. And I'm just trying to capture what we had a long, probably 2-hour meeting about yesterday, just to I will do my best to articulate this. And then when it goes down on the page, hopefully that catches people and it all makes, I don't know, it makes sense in the whole flow, which is it's a pretty big, that's an understatement to say the least. I mean, it's a big damn flow.
Yeah, flow is a very good word for your comic. It really is. What was you saying, Buddy, about that?
Yeah.
The intentionality of the...
I was just saying, I mean, usually it's a... the way that I write, like when I'm writing in pieces, I call it to the beat, is one of the way that I kind of created writing comic books. And basically it's right to the emotion and not the scene. Because I think if you write to the scene, then you're trying to control it too much. But if you write to the emotion, then you'll get it just right. And so when we have a scene, I'm like, what I tell them is things like, this needs to evoke, like just utter sadness. She needs to be broken here. Like this is a part where, instead of like extremely detailing the scene, telling what kind of face she's got or what kind of scene it is or whatever, I'll say, this is where she's learning how to crawl. Like she's hit her, hit what she thinks is her bottom. She's got to learn how to crawl now on her own. Nobody's going to help her.
Yeah.
And
what color is despair,
Yeah, right. It's tough. I mean, I just, Buddy and I had, like I said, we had a production meeting yesterday morning around this time earlier. And there's a scene, it's like Nikki, the protagonist, is talking to a tree. And that's it. That's all I know. I mean, I snippets of dialogue. Okay, girl talking to a tree. Got it. And then the following page, or the right hand page before the turn, is she's on a glacier, and then ice. Her cheek gets scuffed by some ice, and there's a little drop of blood. That's it. That's all I got. That'll keep me busy for like a week, and that's kind of roughly. It depends on how our lives are going, but it's okay. Give me a week, whatever. We're almost done. Maybe today, maybe tomorrow. But I've got the freedom to come up with whatever the heck comes to mind on that, and if I can add a bunch to it visually, but he can then fill in some gaps on that too. And we've got the freedom to do that because we don't lock in. We won't lock in the dialogue right till press, because I use, basically I'm going from iPad to Photoshop to Illustrator, and then Illustrator to InDesign, so everything stays fluid the whole time. So we can change the word.
Okay.
And I enjoyed this because I caught a really good stream a few days ago with John Malin was talking about Eric Weathers and what a pleasure he was to work with. Because sometimes Eric would just throw in a better way to say something, and John goes, "Done. Okay, let's do it."
Right.
So it makes you better as you go.
Well, that's the thing. You guys aren't settling for just good enough. Just get it out the door, good enough. And yeah, I mean that causes production delays and everything. But what you're pursuing just not good enough. You're trying to hit a goal here, and
we talked about it yesterday, and I said that I'm not. He's not a comic artist. I'm not a comic writer. We're not going to make the best comic ever. We will make the best comic possible that he and I can make right now.
That's good, and it's humble. I like that.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. When you talk about, I mean, for me, the writing is my area of things, and I kind of working with an artist and on my comic, and I've had like my artist at one point said, "Wait, there's a page missing here," and I'm like, "Well, what are you talking about?" And then he's like showed me that I didn't realize I was doing this, but I had like these, like I was building like mini arcs of like 2-page and 1 page, and then this concludes in the next page, and then 1 page, and this concludes on the next page. I was doing like mini arcs to building my story with mini arcs, and I didn't realize that. And he was when he took me through like the panels of the pages, he's like, "There's one missing right here, and we'll get back on the story if you put an extra page here that fills in the connective tissue." And I didn't see that myself, and but that just shows me we're collaborating on another level. That that he's not only just doing what I tell him to do, that he is actually involved, and he is actually he's actually creating alongside of me. And you two are operating on that level where he was telling me about the microsurgery panel where all he told you was this tree is like operating on her, and good luck, go with God.
Yeah, it was it was like the plants in the forest are basically just gonna what was the right word, but
burrow into her skin and perform surgery from the inside out.
Yeah, like they're going to infuse you. They'll infuse her. And I was like, okay, how do you have plants infuse somebody? And there you go. So I go away for a while, and I came up with what I did, and I hope, because I brought her sort of back to life, and I had this skeletal form as she comes back to this beautiful, blonde woman, and she tosses and turns a bit, and there's like I think 3 insets, because I probably did that like 6-8 months ago. So it is what it is, but it's not something specific that I was told to do. It's like, okay, well, it's a nice piece, and I got really good feedback from it. So
Buddy was like astounded when he got it. That's what he was telling me yesterday. Pop says hi, buddy. Pops Van Zant.
Hello, Mr. Van Zant.
Hey, dude.
Yeah. But that's the thing, when you're pursuing a goal, when you're pursuing something you got in your mind and your heart, and you're trying to put it on the page, the ultimate goal is to connect to somebody out there. At the end of the day, that's what you're trying to do, is you're trying to connect, but when you're on this side of it, there's not a lot of being in production myself with my first book, there's a lot of times where you feel like you're speaking into the void, because it's just like, feels like it's a members only club, and it's just like you and your person, your artist, and how much do you show the rest of the world, or how much you keep to yourself, or whatever, don't want to spoil things and things like that. But what that does is the gratification is not as forthcoming, and so a lot of what you're dealing with is your own, your own determination of what pleases you, and you hope that at the end of the day that pleases people out there once you get it produced.
I think you just have to do a good job. Like, you just have to tell yourself, like, I'm doing this for me, in the
Mhm.
sense of, yeah, I want it to make money or whatever, but it's not going to make money if it isn't good.
Right.
And so you're like, I'm going to make the best thing. That's what I always, what I always tell, what I always tell X, and, is like, I'm going to make it the best that I can. If
Mhm.
it costs more money, then, it sucks, but it costs more money. Like that was one of the things we were discussing yesterday, is that I'm like, the sequentials that we did, they're good, but like, based on the pages that we have now that you've done on your own, where it's not a sequential, it's just I give you less information and I let you go at it. I'm like, that's what we're going to have to do. So we're going to have to split those up.
Right.
And
Right.
make, more pages with just better visuals. Because, I mean, if you've got the winning horse, then you lean on it. You don't say,
Right.
like, all right, I'm going to put you in the barn. Sorry, bro.
Well, it's you know the story about Seabiscuit, right?
Yeah.
No, dude.
Okay.
I know. I'm the only
All
person in the world that doesn't know it, but yeah.
Okay.
I know that.
Seabiscuit was a grandson, I think a great grandson of Man of War, and so he had this pedigree, this incredible pedigree. But when he looked like a he looked like a cow pony. He was just not a very attractive horse. But one of the best trainers of all time, Sonny Fitzsimmons, he kept trying to get something out of that horse. He couldn't figure out why he couldn't get anything out of it, and so he kept running the horse, to try to get something out of it, and he never could quite. Every once in a while, there'd be these flashes of speed and these flashes of brilliance, and he's like, but then he got the horse got sold to a guy out west named Howard, and he had a trainer that basically worked breaking horses in the West. And when he saw, they were like, when they were like looking for a horse that they thought they could do something with, he said they were looking at all these like sad claimer horses, and then this one horse looked at him like, "Who the hell are you looking at?" And he's like, and he just got this. He's like, "Give me that horse right there, give me that horse." And but the first thing he did was he let the horse know, I'm not gonna force you to do anything you don't want to do. And he just like kept enforcing that. He's like, if you don't want to go today, we won't go today. If you want to lay in your barn, and that, because that horse had been like forced to do things until it got to where it was like all the anger was like forced outward towards, and so once he let the horse know that it could do whatever the heck it wanted to do, it started like just absolutely burning the top off the track and became the Seabiscuit we know. But that's the thing about, you just, sometimes you just got to let it go, you just got to let it go and let it go what it's going to do. I guess that's what he's saying, if he try to constrain you in any way, he might miss something that you're gonna create that's just gonna be jaw dropping.
Well,
I think it's just room. There's only so much real estate on a page.
There's so much that's gone on in the last last year in my life, as an artist, creatively.
Yeah.
And I'm finding I've done 2 covers for Scott McCullough in the last since Christmas time roughly. He's been like, dude, here's a rough idea, just do your thing. And I fire something in, it's like, we're done, we're good, there you go, you're paid. I talked to Narwhal
except the gun.
What's that?
The gun that he wanted you to do like 20 times.
Right.
Oh, fuck,
right.
dude. Yeah, but hey, that's fun because all's fair in love and war. When Scott made me redo the gun 17 times, I called him on it and I showed them all. And I would posit that no one cares which gun it was, but they're all pretty good. But we finished up on something good. As for Ransom, I'm doing the alt cover for Narwhal for Nosferatu right now.
Nosferatu,
and I'll be done I'll be done tomorrow, next day. And he's just like, bro, that's awesome. Good for you. Just do your thing, which is the way it should be, really. If you're working with good people.
Yeah.
And in the same time, no names. I got a DM with been fighting this thing for months. A logo, a wink, wink, Cooper,
Yeah.
because we did this like 6 months ago, you and me. And it was
Right.
like, working on this thing, it is just not happening. Can you please fix it and do it like in the next week? So yeah, I got you. And I got that. And money in hand, I'll figure it out. It's all good.
Right.
There's a lot of trust goes both ways between a writer and an artist as creators, to say the very least. Because when we're talking, I don't think a lot of people realize that, but there's tens of thousands of dollars to go back and forth. Absolutely. So, which is awesome. I think it's a very high risk, high reward proposition going on around here.
Well, I think because we're such a matrix of individuals that are creating, and there's no like overlord structure where you're forced to work with this person or you're forced to deal with this individual. That because of that, people are kind of like finding their art team that they're have a most synchronicity with, and they're reusing those people. And they're like creating these like unofficial teams, like with Barbusco Studios and with you and with Arksider doing my character development. I kind of like created my team, with you between your graphic design and your overlays and Barbusco Studios, Edmundo's art and Mika's colors, and
I know, and they're so good. Jeez,
yeah, and I mean, eventually, like I'm gonna get you to go and do some overlays on the pages, like we discussed that. Like punch them up just a little bit, maybe make them look more brushed or whatever. But we can. But the thing about it is because of that, you can find the people that you work with best, and and you can like reuse those people, and you can create these active relationships. They're not like the big two has to do. I mean, the big two or any mainstream comics has to deal with is there this huge entity overlooking everything, and if the people above them are incompetent, then they have to deal with that incompetence and to get everything out. But because we're all like independent, contractors, we can actually pursue the level of perfection that we want. We can, there's, unfortunately, because of crowdfunding, there is like at the end of the day, people expect to see a product at some point and they want it as fast as possible. But that's really the only restriction you do have,
I mean, in our case, like the product that we sold during our crowdfunding stage is completely different than what we have now.
Right.
The story is different. The the art is completely different. And then just the addition. I mean, like I said, like we have on my deal, it promises 48 pages. I could give you 48 pages now.
Yeah, of course. Right.
But it wouldn't be because of, like we said, we talked about, there are, with the painted style, like you need more room to breathe for action and for things to happen. And so we, I kind of discovered that, and I'm like, well, this just got to be more pages. Like that's just what's got to happen. Like you want to intro a character, it's not one page, it's 3. You want action to happen, it's not one page with a bunch of panels, it's like 5.
Right.
It's just it is what it is.
Well, Jacko over here says something interesting. Art has a life of its own. You can't control it. You can only work to make the best version of itself. And an actual horizontal cooperative structure that leftists claim to want. The thing is, they generally don't possess the character traits to make it work. Yeah. I needed to get that in there. That's a good line. I'm sorry, Xeviuss, I didn't mean to interrupt you there, man.
Oh no, that's cool.
Okay.
Back to what Buddy said was letting stuff breathe. Like we talked about when we sort of rejiggered the whole thing in a different direction after going away from Joe, the first artist, the pinup guy. He's amazing and he's a good friend. It was looking at the very first turning point was was Black Orchid, Neil Gaiman.
Yeah.
And Buddy's like, hey, you could probably do this. And I looked at it, and I almost said I bought it, but I don't want to lie on here, but I got it. Wink, wink.
Right.
But went through it.
You acquired it.
Yeah, I acquired it. Went through it really carefully. I'm like, dude, I could do this without blinking. So we've kind of moved into a very, there are parts of that where there's a spread that has like 8 panels of a sketchily drawn protagonist, the plant lady, if you will. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's a whole page turn. And then there's like maps in behind. You're like, okay, yeah, we get it. She went from East Coast to West Coast as part of the story. But it's pretty to look at. I mean, it's gorgeous. It's like, okay. And then you go on again. So we've done a bit of that with Sins and what we're coming up with next. So it's not reinventing the wheel, but at the same time, it's not borrowing from that. It's just, this has been done before. So like, let's build on, I guess, a narrative structure visually that's really good, because you can't really do much better than those guys.
No.
I mean,
you've seen the Sienkiewicz's work on, I think it was Sandman. I think.
Yep.
Yeah. That. Well, what you're doing kind of reminds me of that somewhat. He's probably.
Thanks, by the way. And that's weird, by the way, because you mentioned Sienkiewicz, and just recently I posted something, and there was a thread that kind of, sometimes you like tweet something that kind of goes hot.
Yeah.
And some guys started talking, is this McKeon or Sienkiewicz or whatever? I'm like, well, here's what I was doing 20 years ago. So I don't know, but I'm aware of these guys. And, I see their stuff. I look around. But I'm doing my thing. They do their thing. But if it looks similar, that's great. If it is.
Well, I'm not saying there's any kind of like overlap there. You're just like, you're kind of heading roughly in the same direction with what you're doing.
Well, okay, yeah.
I mean,
but again, that's because I'm a paint. Okay, my favorite line artist in the world, living right now, is probably Ethan Van Sciver. I just I marvel over, like, I look at Cyberfrog and just go like, how the heck did you do this? Because he's like, he's falling off a building. There's stuff reflecting off all of his reflective surfaces. And I've been telling this to Buddy for like 2 years, so it's no surprise.
Yeah.
I just don't understand how you can be that good. And then to fill the whole, I was going to say panel, but the whole page. It's like, how does your brain know how to do that? I don't get it. So, and then the inking is perfection. So, I mean, I've played a bit. I've done a few very careful, slow Cyberfrog pieces, and I got retweeted, and a couple hundred likes, and it's good.
Right.
But I don't enjoy that.
No.
But I enjoy like a good Turner painting, or a I mean, the only real big fine art piece I have in my house is John Singer Sargent, the portrait of Lady Ocknow. Lady of Locknow, sitting in a chair. She looks kind of grumpy. Looks like my ex-wife. I love it. So when I've got a piece to do, my brain is somewhere pulled between the two. Yeah. And so it's different sensibilities. But I mean, I was looking at, because I'm doing a horror piece right now for the, well, I did Clint Stoker's Dracula logo yesterday.
Yeah.
Last night I finished it, which is cool. And then I'm doing Narwhal's, there's an alternate cover. Right. Whatchamacallit? Nosferatu.
Nosferatu,
I was looking around at Arkham Asylum, because that's, there you go. So is that McKeon or Sienkiewicz? I forget. I think it's McKeon.
Yeah, I think it's McKeon, yeah.
Okay. And just like, okay, it's weird. It's got splatters. It's dark and scribbly.
Right.
Like, I relate to this. So I'm not going to steal or borrow anything from it, but I can get myself in kind of a zone. So that's where I'm at, like today, tomorrow, maybe.
Well, there's two ways of thinking about art. I find some people see art as like creating something from nothing, that are taking something from inside yourself and putting it on the page. And there's other people that believe art is tuning into something that's pre-existing, and you are basically the conduit to which it finds its way to this world.
Sure.
I'm of that belief that there's something pre-existing, something else that I'm tapping into.
Interesting.
Because, but I mean, it's like some people see, see.
Hold up. What you just said interests me because
Yeah.
My girlfriend pops by, like most mornings with a coffee and sees, what I did the night before.
Right.
And when she goes, and it's not every day, but often if I do something good, she go, "Holy cow, that's awesome!" And I often find myself, I'll say, "I know, right?" Because I know when it's good.
Right.
And then I always get sort of smacked down, going like, "Well, that's rude or arrogant or something." It's like, no. When I say I know, right, it's good. I didn't mean it was me. And I've tried to explain, it's like it's God's hands. It's like I'm not operating as me entirely. It's tapping into something. So it's like I know.
Yeah.
Like, does that make any sense?
Oh, it makes perfect sense.
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. In a writing context, that's when I will write something, and then I'll reread it, and I'm as entertained as a first reader would be. Yeah. Well, especially with my characters, I've got some characters who basically have taken over my book, done their own thing. And you want to get to that place, because once you get to that place where it feels like it's something other, that all you're doing is, I guess the word would be amanuensis or dictator. You're hearing something, or you're tapping into something, and you're trying to like get it down on the paper. We're doing a show on Friday about dreams, how dreams influence our storytelling. And the guy I'm hoping to get, I haven't got any word back yet, but it was Randy Zim from Indie Vault.
Yep.
And he came out of the COVID coma and saying that he had lived multiple lives in the COVID coma. While he was sleeping, he had adventures. He'd gone places. He'd done things. And this was all just on the, and the bad thing, the interesting thing about it was, once he came out, he found out that that things that happened in his world, that had happened on the outside of the world too, and it happened in this plane of existence, and so that was, he almost predicted it, because somewhere in the whatever that is, whatever was happening, wherever he was, it was like a paralleling to our own or something. And he asked people, he's like, was there like a television on, or was there like something playing in the background? And they're like, well, we kind of kept it quiet. So where he got this from, who knows? But it like filtered into the world that he was living in his dreams. But what all this is, what we're all tapping into. Yako says, I think artists tap into something outside of us. Otherwise, what is it? Resonates to other people when they like the art. Yep. Hail, Greg Lee Levidra. Okay. Add to the stream, Mr. Buddy Lord back. Hey, man.
Hey, what's up,
Buddy Lord?
Yeah. I know, right? I keep dropping out and coming back.
No,
you Southern guys.
That's fine.
You guys are so fun to listen to. I gotta say.
Yeah. Well, it's a Southern thing. You wouldn't understand, Xeviuss. No, just kidding. Anyway,
well, I mean, I've got roots in Texas, but I've lived enough in California and Canada that I think I've got a zero. I don't know. How would I know? But I've got a zero accent, right, as far as I know.
I only have a major accent when I'm drunk or tired. And when I'm drunk or tired, man, it's like,
that's
what
when
you
the
want?
Southern comes out. Yeah.
No, you're dead wrong, bro.
You're talking too much, boy.
Well, you just said
that's what the Southern gives out.
You just said 7 words, and those were Southern words. I can tell.
Yeah, I know, but I meant to. That was the point.
Okay.
I was like
Right.
flexing a
And I would hope-
muscle, you know. It's just like an
Right,
involuntary
right.
thing after a while, though. Or if
And I
I
know
get
you're
around my
working.
cousins, you know, because my cousins are like, hey, you know, I took part of that 4-wheeler over there, man. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm like, what? I have no idea what you said. I think it was a sentence, but I'm still not sure.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Well, when it comes to Sins of the Fae, I've got the link is going to be in the description if anybody wants to go take a look. And there's also a website, sinsofthefae.com.org. Is it .org? Anyway,
No,
it's
it's
down there.
sinsofthefae.com and Blade Knight. There's bladeknight.com as well, which is for the whole publishing company. That's got Sway and Sins of the Fae on it.
Okay, I'll definitely put that in the description. But these two gentlemen, I believe Xeviuss, occasionally he surfaces and says that he's open for commissions. I think you're booked right now, though, right?
Oh yeah, I'm busy with Buddy, but I'm always open for like doing a cover here and there. Yes,
right,
I'm open
right.
for commissions. It's what I love to paint stuff. I've done some fun ones lately too.
Mm-hmm.
Some good.
Yeah,
You know, commission comes out in and out in about 2 days.
Yako wants to know, how do you follow you on Twitter? I'll make sure they're in the description down there, Yako. I don't currently have them. I'm sorry. I'll fix that as soon as we get off here. But this ash can is coming out. You guys will have it in your hands, I believe you said, by the end of next month. I believe in time for the Comic-Con.
Yeah, it'll be at most like 3.5 weeks from now. We're gonna have it done,
Okay.
And we said, that's gonna be offered to anybody who has purchased the book. They get that for free. If they want it, we'll send it to them. Period. That's
Okay.
all it is. Because like I said, we didn't want to be like Red Rooster, where we're offering something to the public or to anybody else that the buyers didn't get a chance to get. So
Right.
if you have purchased into any perk, you know, doesn't matter which one it is, even if it's digital. If you want that book, we will send it to you.
Awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, that's kind of like saying, okay, we're showing you our hand. You know, we're there's nothing to hide here. This is happening. This is in production. This is the quality worker we're putting out. It's a good way to kind of like to try to maintain your relationship. You know. But I think with a lot of products, a lot of campaigns go into kind of like development limbo that people kind of lose faith a little bit, and so this will be definitely help.
Yeah, I think
that
you know, we had talked about that yesterday, and we thought this might be a way to inject some life into the community, and to and have a promotional thing as well. We're also going to put it on this. We're going to put it on. It will be a story of its own. It will actually be a story that you can follow. So because of that, we are going to put it on cgnow.com for a low price. Okay. So like, somebody wants it, it's there. If you want to check out the story for a low barrier of entry, there it is.
Yeah. Well, once I get my copy, and I will be asking for a copy, I'll definitely review it. I'm sure it's going to be something interesting. Well, I think it's really fascinating that in a art obsessed community like we have here, where artists are rock stars, and maybe the writing doesn't always get the emphasis that it needs, which is why this channel is here. But in your case, I think what you got is something entirely different from that whole art versus writing. What you got is, it just seems like the art and writing are so synergistic as to be unable to be distinguished from one another, and I'm really fascinated to see what that turns out to look like. Because you're not really dealing with the sequential, you're dealing with like the whole experience of it. You basically got like a they're just intertwined so inextricably that I'm just really fascinated to see what you guys come up with. I'm sure whatever it's going to be something really unique.
Thank you. I mean, let's talk a bit about Let's talk a bit about CCEE, which is, we had a bit of strategy talk yesterday morning, Buddy and I.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's going to be, it's generally 100,000 people, but with 2 years of lockdowns, it's probably going to be, I'm going to say,
we
120.
really blasted. Yeah, there's gonna be a whole bunch.
It's going
of
to be
people.
big. And I did the numbers. So a table in Artist Alley was about $1,000 or more, but that's in the zone. It's like, we don't need to, because again, I'm sorry. By the way, I'm not on camera. I just it's a long story, long morning.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine.
I'm not particularly shy, but if I've got a backpack, and you guys know my gal probably by now, but two of us hustling around.
She's going to draw some. She's going to turn some heads.
She's easy 6'1" in heels, like not a problem. She just left here like right before we got on, and we're just gonna go. We're gonna walk around and hustle. And I'm a It's not. No, sorry. I think it's known by everyone. Be it whether you want to talk about Liam Gray or you want to talk about. Sorry, I got to stop right there. Liam or Preston or Vicky or whoever. I give. Can I swear on your show? I give no fucks. Like none.
Right.
Like, literally. I won't work with you.
Gotcha.
Like ever. There's no way. But you do your business. I'll do mine. But I'm a nice guy. And my Twitter persona, which is important if you're in business over here. So me walking around, and I was going to get in touch with the guys. I've got, a month here. I want to be clearly Comicsgate, walking around, checking out tables, doing whatever, and handing out for free. And Buddy's like, hey, should we charge a few bucks for these things? Maybe. I'm like, maybe. I don't think so, though. But we can even discuss that. But here's your ash can of sins with your preview of Sway, and it's 16 pages. I can't see that going wrong in any level.
Yeah.
And I can film I can film any of it. And we could probably put out 200 of those things easy in the 3 days. Because Sundays, everybody knows, at cons are like Sundays at cons are fire sales, but Thursday, Friday, Saturday are pretty awesome. And make friends. And can we double our fan base? Yeah. In a month? Maybe. Literally.
Definitely.
Just with, like the personal connection. I don't know.
Well, I think people are going to be like I said, your art is operating on a different level. It's operating on a more a level that emotive level. So people are going to react one way or another to it because once they see the visuals and it's not gonna it's gonna make an impression one way or another.
Cool.
When you get to the points of true art is a divisive thing. It's not really a unifying thing. True art means that you're going to have a reaction to it one way or another, and it's kind of like prog rock. There's nobody denying that prog rock has got complexity and got beauty and got incredible stuff, but then some people are like, I want my everything on the bottom shelf and accessible and but the thing about it is whatever happens when people get that in their hand, they're going to react one way or another. It's just too beautiful and it's too visceral for there not to be a reaction. So nice. I think that's a really good move on your part. I really commend you. Besides, we're all going to have to figure out a way to get our stuff out there because the model that has been presented to CG is not working for everybody. So those of us who don't have a pro pedigree to kind of like sell our stuff, we're going to have to find a different way to get it in front of people.
I got to step, not a step, sorry, a step in there, not a step on you, but
no problem.
I watched, I've been here for 4-5 years.
Yeah,
but via email for the first couple of years till I was smart enough to go like, fuck, I got to get on Twitter to get some attention.
Right.
People like Michael Bancroft is a good example of just
very good example. Yeah.
And he'll be like, okay, I got 1 hour to spare because I got this, that, I got I don't know. I got a few kids, got a wife, got a job, whatever.
Yeah.
I will
Right.
never miss the mark, and I'll just show up and do it again and again and again.
Yeah.
And he proved that. And I think Lucent 2 hit, it doesn't matter. It's successful. 40K,
Yep.
60K, whatever.
Right.
He made the time. And I can't imagine, I don't have people around here have day jobs. A lot of people. You might.
Right.
I don't know if you do. I don't.
Not job.
Okay. Yeah. I paint. And my life is expensive. I drive an Audi. I have a nice condo. But I get by doing comic skate art, which is bananas. And I do portrait commissions. I do whatever. And I'll take side jobs. Like I'm doing a thing for you for, I don't know, like a few $100. I forget that it doesn't matter what the terms are. Like, and I'll get that to you. And Buddy and me have a couple grand worth of stuff to do.
Right.
It comes by. But, and then when it's like, okay, do you want to come on a show for a couple hours? It's like, okay. But imagine doing like a 10-hour day on top of that. I can't.
Yeah.
So anyway,
exactly.
guys like Bancroft who have no background, they just somehow do it anyways. It's amazing.
Right. Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I consider him my biggest. That's my biggest aspiration. Is I want to, I consider him like my YouTube daddy. That's I try to. What I see him do, I try to like. I mean, I'm doing my own thing, but I try to emulate that at the highest degree because I like what he's doing. I like the community he's building. But that when it comes to these new IPs, the brand new, spanking new IPs, when people are being asked to buy into that, the bottom line is they're buying into you. Because and they're like taking your word for it, and so the only way for that to be successful is if they trust you and they like you and they know who you are. And so people that just like show up and just say, "Here's my book, buy it," look at the art. Even if the art is incredible, even the art is jaw dropping. I mean, sometimes they'll overcome a lot, but for the most part, people are trying to, especially new IP, brand new IP with nothing behind it, like no mainstream pedigree or whatever. They're buying into you. And to walk up and have an ash can in the hand or have that available, say we have nothing to hide. This is in production. This is what we're doing. We want you to see it. That's a big step. I mean, that's a really brilliant move on your part. I commend you. I think it's gonna succeed like gangbusters. I really think it is.
Thank you. And again, I'm gonna do my best to. They're local, and we have mutuals in real life, not on Twitter, but
right.
If I can get, hey, I will be here, and I sent I roughed out a press release with Buddy yesterday morning. Be like, hey, we're doing this, and tag the con itself. And I mean, if they look deeply into me, they might go figure out, hang on, what's this comic skate or who's this Ethan guy?
Right.
And then they might block me, or if they're cool, they'll just be like, they might retweet it because I'll be like, hey, join me at the con on Saturday night.
Well, I think that's working in our favor because people are starting to wake up to the to certain buzzwords and certain things that are being said, and they're starting to gravitate towards things that they're told are racist or homophobic or hate groups or whatever, and they're starting to figure out that's you're calling that a hate group. I need to check these people out, or I need to go in this direction. I need to find out what these people are up to. So I think it's actually working in our direction, and as we go, the more negativity that's headed our way, and we're going to get. I don't think we've seen the beginning of the negativity that's heading our way as soon as we start threatening, because they're getting small enough and we're getting bigger enough that eventually we're going to get big enough that they're going to want to squash us once and for all. And so I think that's heading our way. But I think it's in the end, they're the dinosaurs or they're the Cro-Magnons and we're the, Homo sapiens. And, that never worked well for the Cro-Magnon,
Yep, totally.
So, anyway, so Buddy had to pop out again. Well, thank you, and thank you, Buddy, for coming. I think at the end of the day, the pursuit of perfection is basically you have to reach a accommodation with yourself as to what you feel like you want to accomplish, and at the end of the day, if you accomplish that to the level that you're most happy with, then other people are gonna like it too. If because you're the first reader, you're the first eyeballs that's going to see this thing, and if you're happy with it, then there's a good chance that other people are going to be happy with it. So,
that's good. Let me jump in there because I came in here late without preparing, but
no
you
problem.
said that was the theme of the show, and without having looked it up off the top of my head, there's a quote something like, "Perfection is the enemy of progress." And I was talking 2 days ago with Peter Gilmore, Mandy's artist and whatnot, saying like, so, and like I said, my girlfriend comes by and checks out what I did every morning, just like what painting I'm working on, be it a cover or something with Buddy. Yeah, and she'll be like, it's like, that hand is a bit weird. I'm like, dude, moved on. I'm like, I'm done. Like, it might get looked at before we master, maybe, but
right.
It's more important to the forward than it is to be perfect, and that's my thoughts on perfection. Actually,
Yeko is helping us out over here. He says, you have one when your enemy's insult becomes a recommendation in the public's mind. True. I like this guy. The perfect is the enemy of the good. That's Voltaire. So,
I totally like this guy too. I keep seeing him, dude.
Yeah, man.
So Joko, am I saying it right?
Yeah.
Are you on Twitter or Instagram?
Yeah, I think I called him Jayco. I might be messing it up, but follow Xeviuss at Xeviuss on Twitter, and I'm Telepathic Bunny at Telepathic Bunny Comics on Twitter too. So just go ahead.
Twitter is a cruel. It's a cruel mistress. It's tough. Like I'll get 27 new followers, and then I'll check it, and I'll get and I'll lose 14. It's like
right.
And that happens because I get reports every Thursday with something I use.
Right.
I pay like $12 a month for something called Tweepsmap. I don't use it, but I look at it. And
right.
But you win people one at a time. Like I was at the pub on last Saturday, and I got one follower. He's a cool guy because we have mutual friends online.
Right.
So, okay. So that's a dude I can count on going forward. So Jocko,
right.
Find all of us on Twitter and Instagram.
Yeah, definitely. Anyway, so Buddy, you got anything you wanna put out there before we conclude for the day?
No, I mean just check out Sins of the Fae. It is an urban fantasy, I guess it'd be the genre, magical realism. Kind of taking the myths of the past, including Christianity, and passing them through our own lens, and sort of a Neil Gaiman-esque, like American Gods kind of thing.
Yeah.
And in this main story, like the gods come to Earth, they sort of hate us for some reason. We don't really we believe it's because we welcomed this enigmatic alien, extra dimensional race called the Fae, and now we have no one to save us. I mean, what do you do when you can't say, "Oh God, help me," when praying doesn't help because they hate you?
Yeah, right. Well, that's an interesting premise. What's the quote? A wish fulfillment, but for every wish there's a sin, and for every sin there's a
that you can wish for fairy tales, but for every granted wish there is sin in its creation, and for every sin there will be a reckoning.
Yeah, I like that line. That's a really cool panel. I really like that one. Anyway, Twitter is the social media site of most Isley Grand. Yeah, I agree to that.
No, I
He's
was typing now.
At Yacht Quinn.
I disagree.
Tweets.
I've got the best, most positive people in the world on my Twitter. Mutual both ways. Like just ignore, mute, block, whatever, whatever works for you on Twitter. But like I've got all these people who are like, hey everybody, hey Comicsgate, hey whoever, hey libertarians, hey whoever, good morning, God bless you, and I'll like it and I'll post a sunshine emoji, and it's good, and we just all go like, oh, because you make someone smile for like 10 seconds,
right,
or 5 seconds.
Well, Statistical Zero always makes me smile. I love that guy. He's such a ray of sunshine. He did like a little bird with the umbrella the other day. He said that it may be raining now, but the sun will shine again or something like that. I was just like, I love this guy. I really do.
I do.
Anyway, yeah, gotcha. So okay. On that note, all the links will be down below. I have a few to add, evidently. I'll get that done before the hour's out. And Mr. Tweets Yaquin on Twitter. I think
Joaquin.
Yeah, Joaquin. Yeah, like Joaquin Phoenix. What the hell am I doing? Anyway,
right.
So yeah, go ahead and make sure you follow that guy. I like him. I think he'll fit in quite nicely with us. Anyway, that is going to be the show. Thank you everybody for coming. Thank you for the chat. We'll do this again starting next Tuesday. But Friday night, tomorrow night, at 7:00, there's going to be the love stream with the Genesis crew. Is going to be talking about dreams, how dreams color our storytelling, and hopefully, we're trying to get on a guest that was in a COVID coma for a month and dreamed the whole entire time. We're going to try to talk to him if he can make it. Anyway, thank you, buddy. Thank you, Xeviuss. Check out Sins of the Fae. It'll be in the description. And that's Cooper from Telepathic Bunny Comics. And y'all have a nice day.
Cool.
Tell me what's on your mind.